Hello, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of our lecture on chapter 4, starting to dive into individual theories of health behavior. So health behavior theories that primarily deal with individual motivation and action. I recorded a part 1 that covers a little introduction as well as the health belief model. So that's posted under a second link, but this covers some additional theories, starting with the theory of planned behavior. So let's talk about the theory of planned behavior for a second. We'll get into the history in a moment and how this started out really as a theory of reasoned action. But the theory of planned behavior looks at 3 components and how they influence our intention to commit or not do certain behaviors. We have behavioral beliefs, which is our attitude towards the behavior is influenced by what we believe about the behavior. Do we believe it's effective? Do we believe it makes sense? Do we believe it fits within our worldview? Then we've got these normative beliefs, which are about our understanding of norms and expectations, and control beliefs, whether or not we believe we have the power, the agency is what we talked about before, that word agency, to control our outcome and really control our behavior. Do we believe we have the willpower to quit smoking, for example? And so all of these indicate or feed into our intention. And then if we have an intention, hopefully we commit and do and achieve a behavior change. And so this is the theory of planned behavior, fairly logical, straightforward framework, right? Now, it was initially framed as the theory of reason action. And the theory of reason action states that our attitude towards performing a behavior is key. Whether or not we feel confident and whether or not we believe there is an appropriate norm, an appropriate social norm, an appropriate personal norm. Does this make sense for us? Is this what's going on in the world? Am I meeting expectations? So there's this linear chain linking what we believe about a behavior, what we believe is acceptable, to our intention. And if a person believes that quitting smoking is going to lead to weight gain, that's the example I've given here. And if the social norm is that weight gain is not acceptable for females in this example, and this individual does not want to gain weight, then they may not quit smoking, even though that is a much a more serious health impact, right? Smoking, when we think about smoking and lung cancer and cardiovascular disease and other conditions, the idea that there's this attitude towards the behavior, I believe something about the behavior, and then how that fits into my understanding of the world around me, again, that norm around weight gain, that will impact whether or not I make a change. Now, as I said earlier, this framework started out as the theory of reasoned action. And it was looking at how we have this internal cognitive process that also incorporates social elements. We think about a change, we have certain beliefs about that change, and then those beliefs interface in our minds with what we believe is socially acceptable, what we believe is a norm in the community, in our community, be it young individuals, be it professionals. And so to address this, to use this model, we realize it's highly individualized. And so that was a major limiting factor of the model. And so to change that, to address it, the theory of reasoned action was adapted in the theory of planned behavior. And this element was added, this perceived behavioral control element. The idea that there's a lot in mind, a lot of external factors that go on that we think about in our minds that could impact whether or not we actually make a change. Whether or not we believe we have the perceived power over those factors. So for example, I may really want to quit smoking, but I may not feel like I have the willpower over the physical urge to smoke. And so I don't quit smoking. I decide not to because I don't feel like the presence of those barriers is something I can overcome. And I don't feel that I have the perceived power to facilitate the behavior or to overcome the inhibition. Now, in the theory of planned behavior, a person's perception of how much they control their behavior, how much I can control my behavior, is combined with my attitude about that behavior. Do I think smoking's gross? And my perception of norms in the community. Does my new partner think smoking is gross? You get my point. So we have to incorporate those together. So because the theory of planned behavior involves this internal cognitive process of thinking about what I know about a behavior and then what I think other people will think and what is a socially acceptable norm, because those two come together, is it still an individual theory or is it a social behavioral theory? Now, the argument is that it's an individual theory still, because this all is occurring within our minds. It's what we believe about a behavior and what we believe others will feel about that behavior. It doesn't even have to be real in order for it to impact our behavior. We don't even have to gain weight in real life when we quit smoking. We just have to believe that we might, and that might prevent us from moving forward, and therefore we never quit smoking. So it's really about the perceived piece. And I love this graphic here. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are, right? So it's all about our perspective, what we see in our world around us. Now, where does this theory fit? Where would we use the theory of planned behavior? Let's say, and I know we've already talked about smoking, let's say we want to increase the likelihood that someone would use safe sex practices. And yes, these are the same examples as the last theory, because it's still an individual theory, so don't be surprised there. Let's say we want to increase the likelihood that someone would use a condom appropriately, right? Well, they have to believe, one, that the condom behavior is something they have control over, perceived control, right? They have to believe that it's effective in preventing STDs, STIs, pregnancy. And they have to believe, or whatever they're trying to prevent, right, based on who's engaged in that sex practice, they have to believe that it will be socially acceptable or normal, or that they're at least comfortable with whatever social reality exists around safe sex. And so that's where that social aspect comes into play. They have to understand norms. In fact, someone may even be more likely to exhibit a healthy behavior if it's based on a social norm. So here's a good example. I have a friend and we've been friends for years. And every time I see her, she's drinking Diet Dr. Pepper. Well, we had a meeting, a lunch meeting with some colleagues of mine, and she was there and she was drinking water. And I said, it's awesome. You don't need diet soda today. You're drinking water. And she said, yeah, we're meeting with a bunch of public health folks. I just don't want them to think less of me. So today I'm having water. And I thought, wow, so you don't think that there's an issue with you drinking diet soda for your health. You're fine with that. But because of the social aspects of doing that in front of someone, that impacted your behavioral intention, right? And that individual knew they had perceived control. They knew that for one lunch, they could have water. Kind of interesting. So it makes you realize that social norms, peer pressure, if you will, can actually be used to improve health habits, not just as a negative. So as a theory, one of the pieces I haven't really talked about very much is, just like with the health belief model, this theory includes norms, but it also includes barriers. So we have to identify and understand barriers, feel like we can overcome them. But this model also includes the idea of a facilitator, something that can help you achieve change. And so we identify those as the components of the model, and there's something that we consider when we think about making a behavior change. We're very well aware of those barriers. Now, one thing that I want to point out really quickly is, as we talk through these models of rational cognitive models, this idea of things we think about in our minds as we're processing or considering a behavioral change, we are assuming the individuals are the unit of change, right? These are all internal thought process specific models. The process is internal and rational. And the idea is that individuals would be, just like with an economic model, trying to achieve maximum value or utility in their lives, and therefore they would be health maximizing. Now, that's not always true, right? Sometimes health behaviors, we talked about this earlier, the motivation has very little to do with health. But if someone is mindful of the health consequences, we would assume they would want to, in many cases, be health maximizing. Now, a lot of these theories have different constructs. So we're about ready to move on to the next one, which is the trans-theoretical model. Some of these hypotheses, ideas around these models, when we leverage them and we test them, they're hard to test because every population is different. Every set of social norms is different. We're not accounting for lived experience and trauma and things that happen over time. And so I just want to highlight that some constructs are just ideas, right? The idea of a barrier, but transportation is a very different barrier than, well, my boyfriend smokes, and so I want to smoke with him. Very different barriers, right? Very different sets of norms. So we have to keep that in mind. All right, so let's talk about another model. This is the trans-theoretical model pictured here, and we often talk about it in public health, and we refer to it as stages of change. This is that model, stages of change, where we have individuals who are moving through stages of readiness to make a health behavior change. Maybe they actually make the change. Maybe it sticks, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they come back again and try again to make that change. So this model was developed and became super popular in the 1980s, used throughout the 1990s and early 2000s as a way of really encapsulating and meeting people where they're at. So if you don't know you need to make a change yet, you may be in the pre-contemplation stage, but then a health educator can share information with you and you realize, wow, I really do need to make a change in my life. I really do need to eat healthier. And so then we move to contemplation, which is a stage where you're thinking about that. And then maybe you're preparing and making a change. And so that's what you see here, this circle. Now, this is a great overview here because we've got the stages and what the thought process is on one side. So pre-contemplation is when you may be unaware of the problem, or you are aware, but you have no intent to change. You have no intent to change your eating habits. And so the change isn't happening. Contemplation, you become aware of the issue and you intend to change, maybe within the next 6 months is the loose time frame that we use to describe that. And so this is the maybe stage. In preparation, you start planning, and this is where you really have an intent to make a change. Plans are made. Let's say you're a month out, maybe on Monday you're starting a new healthy eating habit. Maybe next week you're going to quit smoking. Then we have action. And this is where you have a specific modification made. You're doing the work. You're changing your behavior. Maintenance is where we're at when we're trying to keep it going. And termination is when we slip. We either aren't able to sustain the change or we go backwards and we need to try again. And then we come back and we prepare again and we make a change in it. So there's some other constructs that are part of this. It's not just about the idea that everyone's at a different stage in their journey of health behavior change and we meet them where they're at with different interventions. That's the idea behind this, and that's how we use the model. But here, really, we have to think about a couple constructs that are a couple research elements that are involved, right? So one of the research or the practical constructs we use is something called decisional balance. Just like in the health belief model, when people are thinking about perceived barriers, perceived risks, perceived benefits, they're thinking about whether or not to make a change. This is also part of the stages of behavior change for TTM. So when we think about contemplation, someone is really thinking about it. They are weighing out that decisional balance of whether or not it's worth it to change this behavior. Once they get into preparation, they've really decided, I think I'm going to change, but they need to decide how to plan for that change. We have self-efficacy again, same thing as the health belief model, same construct. The idea that we need to be confident in our ability to make a change and our thought process that change will actually be effective. And we have to be aware, and this is what I've been talking about for the last 5 minutes, that we need differing interventions, differing change processes by stage. The way I talk to someone in pre-contemplation, maybe I inform them about the issue, is very different than someone in maintenance or someone who is in preparation and almost ready to make a change. Whether or not they need social support and help, whether or not they need reminders, whether or not they need information, whether or not they need someone to hold them accountable, all is very different based on the stage. So that's our trans-theoretical model, our stages of change. Next, we have the precaution adoption process model. And this one I referred to briefly when we talked about vaccines during the last video. I said that this is often the framework used for vaccinations and for preventive measures. This is a health behavior framework that we look at when we're trying to employ a rational decision-making model, trying to get folks engaged in preventing something. We want someone to decide to take action, either get the COVID vaccine, get the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, get STD tested. We're trying to get them to do something, and it involves a decision factor. So you'll notice the example given here is a COVID vaccine. Step one, the individual's unaware of the fact that the vaccine is available. Then they get educated. Someone tells them, hey, are you going to get the vaccine? They said, oh, I never really thought about it. They think about it, they move to step three, and they make a decision. Maybe they decide not to get the vaccine. And you'll notice that goes down. We're done with the process. You didn't get the vaccine. You decided not to get the vaccine. Or maybe they did decide to get the vaccine. They get the vaccine, and then they're done. Now, what's interesting here is where it says step 7, not applicable, right? If they get the COVID vaccine, right, that is when we discontinue using the model, right? It is based on a preventive model. But they've now been informed. They now know they're at risk, and that might change the way that they proceed in life. Do they wash their hands more? Do they do other things? But it's no longer a part of this viewpoint. And this is directly from our text. So that is what the precaution adoption process model is about. It's how do we get someone to think about making a change, something preventive, and make that change. Now, step 7 here is not applicable again because there's no maintenance there. Once you get the series, maybe they come out with a new vaccine next year, but there's nothing you have to do ongoing. You've already received it. So the first stage, we're unaware of the issue. The second, we're not engaged, right? Kind of like the trans-theoretical model stages of change, except there's a difference here. In the trans-theoretical model, if we go back for a second, you'll notice pre-contemplation is either you're unaware or you just haven't thought about it. You may know, but you're not thinking about it. The PAMPA model is different in that unaware and unengaged are 2 separate categories. Do I know? Do I care? Have I gotten engaged yet? We broke those out here. Then 3 is a decision point. That decisional balance comes back in this theory too. They decide not to act or they act. They actually do the action and then they maintain it. So it's a lot of steps to basically go from unawareness to act. You'll notice there's a maintenance category again, and that might apply to something else, but it doesn't apply to the example we gave here. It might apply to something like cancer screening, right? Do you do your breast self-exam once in a month and then do you come back and do it again, or no, every month? Now, this scenario, this model can fit any of the same scenarios we've already talked about. And so I want you to see that. Your book has these slides that they leverage, and I've leveraged them here to share them with you, where they talk about prevention efforts across every theory, and you'll notice they're using the same examples over and over again on purpose so that you realize any of these models can be used in any of these situations, just like you and your group have a wide variety of models to choose from for your project in this class. Okay, so trans-theoretical model and the precaution adoption process model both follow the idea of going from being completely unaware, not working on a behavior change, all the way up to maintaining that change, right? All the way through. They use different terminology and a slightly different set of steps in the way that they break things out because they were developed by different individuals. In order to test these theories, develop like a falsible hypothesis on whether or not these theories work, we have to think about, does a different intervention work effectively to move individuals from step 1 to step 2, from step 2 to step 3? How do we keep people moving from pre-contemplation to contemplation, from contemplation to planning, preparation, from preparation to action? And you have to think about what's that mechanism of change? What gets people to change and move along that knowledge, action, knowledge, intention, behavioral continuum? And that leads me to the next model, the information, motivation, behavior skills, which you'll notice us starting to allude to. We also call this the IMB, and it was specifically developed early on in the 90s in relation to HIV prevention. And it was really developed as a way to isolate elements of prevention programs and get people to think about the information being provided, the motivation, the factors that really get people to change, the skills we need them to model, and their understanding of that skills and the actual behavior. So let's look at the next slide because it's got the graphic slightly larger. Whether or not I know about HIV risk is different from whether or not I'm motivated to get tested, which is different from whether or not I have the skill, the ability to go to a clinic, walk in, have a conversation in a language that I speak, and get tested. And those skills are different from whether or not I actually do that. If I'm on a trip in China and I don't speak Mandarin, I may not get tested because I don't have the skills. I may have the information and motivation, I don't have the skills to do so. And so we need all three. We need to know what we need to change and why it matters. We need to feel motivated by that information, personally and socially. And we need to have the skills in order to make the change. For example, healthy eating. You hear a lot about cooking classes and events for healthy eating to increase skills, right? We're providing information and skills in hopes that also if some individuals feel motivated, they will make the change. But all three of those elements are required. So implementing this model, if you decide to use this model, is really important it's really important to also be very well aware of social factors. So for example, if we go back, I had a group in a prior session of this course implement a workforce type program with guaranteed housing for homeless individuals. So if homeless individuals participated in this workforce program, they could get guaranteed employment and guaranteed housing as part of this effort. This health promotion type program that also involved a workforce training component. It was really cool. Not traditional public health, right, when you think about it, but really valuable. In their model, they were talking about giving the information and the motivation to engage and giving these individuals who at the time were homeless or displaced, did not have a home, the skills they needed to be successful, right? That's what they're trying to do. But this all assumes that there are no social factors. There are no marketable variables, right? There's no section here that talks about environmental factors or anything else. So just keep that in mind. It's highly individualized. Okay. So this model is used when we want to assess and use these constructs, when we want to understand someone or some population's level of knowledge, information, level of motivation, willingness to change, and a skill level, which is different from information. I may know something, but I may not be able to do the thing physically or logistically. And so we can do an assessment to look at a community's information, motivation, and behavioral skills, and then design a tailored approach. Now, this scenario can fit all of the same examples we gave earlier. However, coming back to these examples, if we look at something like diet change, I may know I need to eat healthier. I may today feel motivated, but I may not have a car to go to the store. I may not have a store in my local community that sells healthy food. So that's where we start to see that with the behavioral skills, we're calling it a skill, but there also could be a barrier that prevents a utilization of a skill. I can't walk 5 miles to the grocery store. That's not doable for me in my life. And so we call behavioral skills, but there's other barriers and things that are hidden in that construct. Now, when we use this theory, I want you to think about how we can use this, prove or disprove, leverage it for a program. So if I know someone has the information, the motivation, and the basic skills to make a change, I may still wonder why they haven't. Is there a marketable, again, a well-known barrier? Is there a gap in the knowledge where we thought they had the knowledge, but when we talked with them a little bit more, it was missing? This model is really only relying on those 3 constructs, okay? So it's very limited. So we have a few other individual theories that we'll come back to. We've got the self-esteem enhancement theory and the self-determination theory. And so we are going to revisit these again. Specifically the self-esteem enhancement theory, which is based on the idea that if you have resilience and strong self-esteem and you're building self-esteem, that will promote healthy behaviors and healthy relationship seeking. So we will seek out people who build us up. Self-esteem itself is not sufficient. We need skills and competencies and information, but it is a big start. Self-esteem makes a big difference in healthy behaviors. And then we also have the self-determination theory that says humans want to grow. We are innately oriented towards growth and health and doing better. And we want to feed into that natural tendency. We want to tell people, I know you want to be the best you can be. Now let me give you the information to help you. All right, so thank you so much for listening to this brief overview, part 2 of chapter 4. I really appreciate it. I hope it was helpful. And I look forward to hearing what questions you have. If you're listening to this as a lecture as part of another course with another instructor, feel free always to reach out to me as I talk through some of these examples, and especially when we talk about careers oriented in health behavior. Keep that in mind. I'm always glad to have conversations about this as well. Thanks.